What's up, Cougs? I'm your host of Unorthodox Sports, Noah Bolter, and we have a lot of exciting things to talk about on today's agenda. First of all, it is a beautiful week in the world of Seahawks fans, coming off our biggest victory in years and our most dominant performance of the season. Unquestionably, a 40-3 victory over the New York Jets. Lots of exciting stuff to talk about. Also, as you know, Mr. Asher Line, who will be introduced in just a minute, he's a Steelers fan. The Steelers slipping up right now. We're going to talk about what's going wrong with Pittsburgh at the moment, and the NBA season is upon us. I'm so excited to make our NBA standing predictions and make our NFL playoff round-by-round predictions. Who do we think is making it to the Super Bowl? But first, we're going to start with some Wazoo men's basketball. So allow me to introduce the gentleman that will be doing the show with me today. First of all, on my left shoulder, or right to the audiences, Mr. Asher Line, sports director of KGR. Asher, great to have you on the show.
Not as excited given your introduction to me and the Steelers, but hey, I'm glad that you two are here. I'm glad we get to do another show. It's finals week. I'm just so excited to be done with school, get into some basketball here. So let's make it happen.
Absolutely. Finals week is upon us. Thank you for bringing that up. Best of luck to everyone throughout their finals. But one person that doesn't have finals, and I'm pretty jealous of that fact, on my right shoulder, Mr. Aaron Monson. Aaron, great to have you once again.
Awesome to be here, and I'm super thankful to be a comm student here with the no finals.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I think I got lucky based off the classes I took this semester, but I'm sure that this is probably the only time at Wazoo that I'm not going to have any finals. But I'm pretty thankful for it. So go Cougs.
No, I'm inclined to agree, man. I got 3 finals this semester. Asher, how many do you have?
I did one this morning, and then I have like 2 that are not that aren't exams, but they're more like final projects. So I've been doing interviews and stuff for that. So only like one actual exam got a 88, I think, on it.
Oh, nice. That.
No, that's really good.
Online school is weird. That's all I have to say on that.
True.
It's definitely different, a shift, a transition. So more power to you, more power to all the students currently dealing with finals. Gentlemen, let us talk about men's basketball, and women's basketball. Cougar basketball in general is at a great state. Both men and women's basketball undefeated at this point in time. Women 2-0 after some COVID cancellations, and men 5-0 at this point in time. So I want to go to you guys, and of course we have to start with the sports director himself, Mr. Asher Line. What is your take on the updated state of Cougar men's basketball?
It's definitely a good sign for everyone, given what's been going on with Pac-12 football and stuff like that. But I want to talk about the women's team first. I was able to go to their game against Idaho and watch them play. I was a camera operator, just got to sit up and watch them. Holy cow, they've got some good freshmen. My goodness, they look really good. Charlize Ledger-Walker gave them 29 against Idaho. They got off to a slow start. They had, I think, 9 points after the first quarter, and then they ended up running away with it and winning by 19. They looked really good, and even without, a lot of people, including me, were wondering how they're going to replace their all-time leading scorer in Bobby Buckets from last year. They've looked pretty good so far, and they've got some really good freshmen on that team. And Coach Etheridge, I think, is going to do a really good job. And then on the men's side of things, I think going forward, I'm going to be calling the Montana State game, which is kind of near and dear to my heart, me being a couple hours away from Bozeman. My brother goes to school at Montana State. It's going to be an interesting game because we still don't shoot it very well from the floor. And we've been talking about that ever since basketball season started for them. Bonton, the focal point of that conversation, 28%. I know Aaron just loves talking about this, but 28% from the field and from 3. I think I looked it up. There's like a .001 difference, and they're both like right at 28.7%. So he needs to definitely step that up. The team is shooting 38% from the field as a whole. They're not doing good. They only have 2 guys in double-digit scoring averages. That's Bonton and Noah Williams, and they're both shooting below 40% right now. So efficiency, I think, is going to be the key moving forward.
I got Williams at 50 right now. I'm sorry. I got Williams.
Okay. Williams at 50, you're right. But either way, both of those guys are the only 2 in double digits. The next, their third leading scorer is Abagidi at 6.5 a game. he is their leading rebounder, but if overall efficiency, I think, is the key moving forward.
No, I completely agree. And you guys, you've rang the bells about Isaac Bonton from the very start. And, even though he isn't shooting the best from the field, at least he's able to consistently shoot the same from the field and three-point land.
Consistency, man.
Maybe the only consistent thing about him. But putting up a lot of points, that too consistent. He is leading the team, even though Noah Williams is far more efficient on his buckets. And I'm starting to lean with you guys a little bit that Noah Williams might need to start bringing the ball up the court a little bit more. But Aaron, you were one of the guys talking about that in the beginning. Let's hear what you have to say.
God, dude, I'm so sick of Bonton. 28% from the field. That's an okay 3-point number. That's okay, right? Shooting 3 out of 10 from 3-point range, good. That's consistent. That's what you expect from a lot of guards. But from the field, it's not surprising from the garbage he throws up there when he takes it to the rim. It's absolutely horrendous. I'm all in it for the Ryan Rapp show to begin, dude. I want to see Ryan Rapp play more. I like the guy. He was in one of my classes last year. Seemed like a cool dude, but I like seeing him handle the ball more just because he passes so much better than Bonton does. Bonton he'll go for the showy no look or behind the back and stuff, and it's frustrating. But I don't understand how he averages 17.4 points a game. It's frustrating. He still pisses me off. I also want to mention Vladimir Markovetsky for a second here too, just because I was talking to my dad about him when we were watching the Cougs, and he leads the team in blocks, 1.4 blocks a game. And you didn't see him play at all last year, right? Because he was that tall, lanky, uncoordinated freshman who was slow and he was really skinny. But you can tell that over the offseason he put on some muscle and a little bit of bulk, but he's still the slowest guy on the court, right? And he still is not the most coordinated guy you've ever seen as a big dude, right? And when you're a coordinated big dude like Efe Abogidi, who I think is one of the most coordinated guys I've ever seen, underneath the hoop, that's why you'd start Abogidi over him. And just Markovetsky, what he does is he gets into foul trouble, but he stops shots from going up. And so I was thinking Markovetsky just gets into foul trouble, and then he doesn't play, and he fouls out, but he stops him from scoring, and that's okay if he fouls out because then Abogidi goes back in. And
that's the
solid plan. I love it.
I wanted to talk about this. You just made me remember this, Aaron. Coordination is something that both basketball teams at WC struggle with when it comes to their time. Mm-hmm. Watching the Idaho game, Markovetsky and Nankervis, whoever they had at center, they just forced the same shots up over and over again. Mm-hmm. And they're so much better catching it off a pass or on the pick and roll. But if you give them the ball and make them put it on the deck and try to make a post move, they're going to have to force it up or kick it out. They're going to get a 3-second call against that. Yeah. And that's the same thing with Markovetsky. Mm-hmm. He's so much better when he's given it to pass. Granted, Bonton has fairly good court vision. He's able to get it to Markovetsky. But when you make him put it on the deck, it's the same thing as the women's team. It's just a complete lack of coordination, it seems. Because I was watching the Idaho game, and they were just forcing the exact same shot, the old fake here, back again, and do the up and under thing. And they were just forcing it up every single time. Every single time. And it's the same thing with Markovetsky.
I totally agree. It's just they just need to slow down just a little bit and really think about what they're putting up.
Slow it down, yeah, exactly. It seems like their mind's kind of racing faster than their feet. You know what I mean?
I totally know what you mean. And back to Noah Williams for a quick sec also. So last year as a freshman, he went 4 from 27 from the 3-point line. 4 from 27, not good. You know what he's shooting this year? He's 6 for 12. That's obviously what he worked on over the offseason. It's an incredible improvement from Noah. Noah Williams, I think right now is my favorite guy on the squad just because of how how cocky he is and he gets in everybody's face.
Swagger going
he totally has a swagger, and I love that.
UW in Seattle.
Yes.
This is their
oh my God, I have chills. I have chills right now just thinking about seeing that again, dude. It's Noah Williams. He's got such a swagger, and I think he's got so much potential. He's only a sophomore. I think he can definitely, improve to like a CJ Ellaby level by the time he graduates and maybe go into the league. I think it's very possible because he's a strong dude, he's fast, and he's not the smallest guy on the court. And even though he is a guard, and so I think
he's got good size for a guard.
He does. I totally agree. Whereas Bonton's a tiny midget, but Noah Williams is better to see. Noah Williams.
I wouldn't call that midget.
Wow. Yeah.
Fun size.
I'd call Isaiah Thomas a midget.
Okay, all right. Well, Bonton comparatively to everybody else on the squad's fun size.
We're catching bodies on this show.
And Noah Williams is just a better built guy. And one more quick thing, I'm sorry, but Andrei Yakimovsky, freshman. He's breaking out. I'm shocked with how well he shoots the ball. His three game is absolutely incredible. He's 38% from 3-point and 32 from the field. Yes, never mind. We're not talking about that.
We needed shooting. He's one of our highest ranked recruits in program history.
Yeah.
And a big part of that is his three game.
Yeah, his three game is incredible.
He's definitely got some range over there. And I really need to see him play more. And
I do too.
He started the last game against Portsmouth for good reason. So if they keep getting him going and improving that 3-point range and getting Bonton and company to catch up to like the efficiency that he's been able to give them in the limited minutes that he's been on the court, and I think they're going to be in a good spot.
I definitely agree. I think our three game is why we're sitting at the top of the Pac-12. That's like one of our big reasons right now is how many threes we're hitting.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. I listened to Noah Williams' press conference from 2 days ago, and he talked about exactly what you were talking about, Aaron. He's been working on the 3-point shot all offseason, and he really implemented it into his game, and now obviously it's paying off extremely well. This offseason, let's work on those free throws. 78% rounded up. It's not too great. If we work on that, Noah Williams is a full, well-rounded basketball player. He plays defense phenomenally. He gets steals, and he's great in the fast break. So,
guess what Bonton's shooting from free throw?
67. Not good either.
Awful.
Hey, Bonton's not the percent guy. We've acknowledged this.
No, really? He's not the basketball player either, apparently. God.
Oh, man.
But bodies over there.
I'm gonna start a hashtag bench Bonton, and I'm gonna see if that starts to go viral on Twitter, and I wonder if it'll work. Get Kosman's attention.
Oh man, but that's enough for basketball talk. At least for Wazoo Kook talk for right now. As you guys know, the game this past week got canceled last minute versus Cal. Asher was gonna work it. I was gonna work it. And it gets postponed due to Cal players and staff members getting COVID. So this week we have a game at Utah, but hopefully we're able to play this week because every single week teams everywhere are getting canceled on, and it's sad to see. But obviously a huge week in terms of college football. Lots of conference championship games this week, so lots of good stuff to look forward to. Let's shift now and let's talk about the Seahawks blowout victory this past week, because that doesn't happen very often. I can't remember the last time I was able to say that. The Seahawks blowout victory. How about a 37-point victory over the New York Jets? The Jets scored first and didn't score again.
Okay, a field goal, but like
a little field goal. They missed two more throughout the game. They had opportunities, but they were playing New York Jet football. Like Russell Wilson says, you don't want to get too high, you don't want to get too low. But Aaron, let's see just how high you're willing to get right here.
I was at work when that game was going on, right? And I watched probably 3 quarters worth, and going into the first half, or going into the second half, we were up 23-3. I knew for a fact it was just over. Like, there's just no chance. I feel so bad for Sam Darnold, okay? I loved him in college. He was awesome at USC. He was, almost a Heisman caliber player. But the Jets are awful. They had, 116, or he had 132 passing yards the entire game. 132. It's not good. And 69 rushing yards, and compared to our 174, right? I'm not surprised at all. Oh, I loved seeing Geno Smith play. That was something I want to talk about too. I loved seeing our backup come out there. Even though he was awful, didn't play very great, it was still fun to watch him throw the ball. Like, just to get Russell out for a quarter and keep him safe. But yeah.
Honestly, we did a lot of things really well in this ball game. Obviously, the offense was clicking. Chris Carson got going. DK got going. Throughout the entirety of the game, we physically dominated these guys. We dropped an interception. Jamal Adams broke the NFL sack record all time for a secondary player getting sacks in a season, now with 8.5 on the year. And his impact has been just felt throughout offense, defense, and special teams in the locker room. His leadership and against his former team was phenomenal. Huge victory. Asher, I want to get your takeaways from the Seahawks victory.
I think my big thing is this is probably the most normal game that Seahawks fans have gotten to watch in a really long time. Because I think you guys talked about it in a previous show, how they always seem to play in these really weird games with super weird outcomes, and they never seem to have a complete game the whole way. But not the case here. And we kind of said, don't play down to the level of the Jets, and they definitely did not play down. Russ was efficient throughout the game. DK was efficient throughout the whole game. He found the end zone. Russ was getting guys open. The running game, like you said, Aaron, was there and very, very present in there, and that's what they need to do moving forward. Not every team is going to be as the same caliber, if you will, as the Jets, but this is definitely a good confidence builder for them going forward, because they've been kind of having a little bit of crisis identity, I feel, because early in the season we're talking about, oh, what is this defense that we need to go get guys? No one's really doing anything. And then they come in, Jamal Adams, who I think set the record for most sacks in a season at his position in NFL history, and that's amazing. Kind of a revenge game for him as well. To get Carlos Dunlap and all these guys starting to play up to the level of Adams and Carlos Dunlap, like Seahawks are looking really good moving forward, and we're giving them so much crud in the last couple of weeks, and to see them go out and beat the Jets like this, it's kind of a statement, honestly, to the we're for real.
I don't know if it's a statement. We're playing the Jets.
Yeah.
Hey, you do what you're supposed to against the Jets.
Okay, true.
The Raiders close, who beat the Chiefs. I mean.
Okay, you're right. We absolutely slaughtered them. Fair enough. I guess that is the point. Okay.
You know, it was truly a wire-to-wire dominant performance, 28 first downs to 12. Finally, greater than 50% on third down was Seattle. Didn't have to go for it on fourth down at all. We killed them in terms of total plays. We ran 17 more, allowed 2 fewer sacks, punted 3 fewer times, and had 3 fewer penalties. So in terms of the box score, we pretty much dominated, which is a beautiful thing for Seattle to be able to say. Moving forward, we have a very, very important game this week at Washington. Washington, a football team, coming off an impressive victory versus the 49ers. Washington is currently leading the NFC East and are the current favorites to win that division by the end of it. Philly and Dallas still have a chance if Washington and the Giants lose out, but it is very, very unlikely. It's really a two-headed race between Washington and the Giants right now, and we have to play Washington this week, and that's going to be a really, really difficult thing. One thing I like from Russell Wilson that I saw this past week, and I talked to you guys, I believe, about it last week, one of my problems that I've seen from Russell Wilson is that he's not taking the shots that he was once taking down the field. Russell Wilson had 1 pick this past week, and it was because he was taking one of those shots, so I'm not too mad at that interception. He threw it down to the end zone to DK Metcalf, and it was a little bit underthrown, and the DB made an extremely good play to intercept that football. But I want to see Russell Wilson keep taking those shots, and he took a couple throughout the game. He threw one to David Moore that David Moore was unable to bring down, but it was there, and Moore should have caught it. And Russell Wilson finally got back to taking those shots offensively, and that's going to be one of the big things this week when we're playing against Washington. And can we just bring up this Washington front? Daron Payne, Montez Sweat, Chase Young, who had a touchdown last week.
Pretty good at football. Pretty good at football.
They're pretty insane, and they have a defensive head coach in Ron Rivera. So very hard-nosed team that we're going up against, leading their division in his first year as the head coach. So my first key versus Washington, let's protect Russell Wilson. Let's keep him on 2 feet, please. Coming out of this ball game, our offensive line has been up and down. This past game, we only gave up 1 sack, which is good, but that was the Jets. This is Washington. This is a division leader. This is a defensive line that's Super Bowl caliber. This is a defensive line that if they had an elite quarterback right now, would be in the conversation to go to the Super Bowl, in my opinion. And that's why we need to take them extremely seriously. Russell Wilson in 2014 set the record that was just broke on Monday Night Football for quarterback rushing yards in a game with 122. Lamar Jackson just had 124. But hopefully Russell Wilson will be able to scramble the ball once again this week. I think we also need to win the turnover battle in this ballgame. We tied against the New York Jets, and that worked because we dominated everything else, but we're not going to be able to dominate Washington the way we dominated the Jets. And so I say we have to win the turnover battle, because if we lose that, that's going to be one of those ways that Washington can hang in the ballgame and potentially beat us. Before the year, I predicted Washington winning this game, by the way. And number 3, we got to win the penalty battle. Only 4 penalties last week for 35 yards, and that's a good number to be at. We've had games where penalties cost us dearly, including the first game we lost on the season at Arizona. So I really think we need to control the penalties in this ballgame. So once again, protect Russ, win the turnover, and win the penalty battle. Aaron, let's go to you. How will Seattle come out victorious at Washington?
So when I first saw that we were playing Washington at the beginning of the season, or I'm sorry, up until like week 6, right? They were on a 5-game losing streak, and at that point, I was not worried that we had to play the Washington football team. But now they're on a 4-game win streak, right? And look at who they beat. They've beaten the Steelers. The notable win out of those 4 streaks is the Steelers, right? They beat the undefeated Steelers at the time, and so. Going into this, I think, like you said, our offensive line needs to just play better than they have ever played before, because that Washington defensive line is absolutely terrifying. They're so good. They're such good pass rushers. And I think since they're such good pass rushing, I think we need to implement the run game. That's our second. That's my second key, is getting the run game like against the Jets. We had 170 yards against the Jets. If we can do that again, or anywhere close to that against the Washington football team, I think it's going to be a dub for the Seahawks.
I agree. Asher, let's go to you. How do you think Seattle comes out victorious this week?
I think the biggest thing for me, you two, I definitely agree with you guys' keys is to protect Russell Wilson and to get the grounding game. But you said it, his 2 feet. I think they're going to need to be a little more active this week, because Chase Young, Montez Sweat, all those guys, Kerrigan, they will get after you. And we've seen it week in and week out. So Russ is going to have to scramble and be able to create, and he's not going to be able to stay in that pocket for very long with guys like that coming after him. So being able to scramble, but also not doing too much, because we've talked about that. That's probably one of the biggest flaws for the offense, is when Russ does too much, that leads to trouble for the whole team, because then it makes the defense have to play pickup or catch up, etc. And then it's just a whole nightmare you guys don't want to deal with, and no Seahawks fan wants to deal with that. So Russ being able to scramble effectively, much like Lamar Jackson did against the Browns, also heck of a game. Unbelievable. I feel bad for the people who bet them to cover the spread. That safety was wild. Totally wild. But not doing too much, but being able to scramble and create plays. And we all know Russ can get out and create plays, because that's what he's known for. He's more of a mobile quarterback. And so I think he'll be able to do that. But not doing too much is my big key, because Washington will take advantage of that, because they have so much momentum right now. They've got a head coach who has Super Bowl experience. They beat the Steelers. They're on the 4-game winning streak. I mean, this is probably the best under 500 team I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, no, and the dangerous thing about this team, first of all, come playoff time, what do you need to be successful? You need a pass rush? Check. You need a veteran quarterback that can at least manage the game? Check. And you need a head coach with his head on his shoulders properly. Check. So this is a head coach that's been to a Super Bowl. That they lost that Super Bowl, but he got his team there regardless. So we really need to be on our P's and Q's this week at Washington. Otherwise, we're not going to come back with a victory. Asher, I do want to shift to your team now, if we may. Last week we came out and we gave you a little bit, almost like a ceremony, for your undefeated season, where Aaron handed you, for our radio audience, what he is currently holding up for Asher Line, which is a fat L. The Pittsburgh Steelers are on a bit of a skid right now. 2-game losing streak, and last game they got dominated by the Buffalo Bills.
They did.
Only one conversion on 3rd down, 1 for 10 in the game, 2 interceptions, lost time of possession by 11 minutes, 8 punts. Not a great game offensively.
I have a lot to say about this. I really do. So I'll just get going right into it. I think the biggest thing when I've looked back at the last 2 weeks, our problem is kind of the opposite of Seattle's and what it was at the beginning of the year. With Seattle, the offense was was asking the defense to play perfectly, and it's kind of the exact opposite here. The defense, I had that mixed up. Seattle's defense was asking the offense to play perfectly because the defense in the beginning of the year could not do anything. They had to go and get Adams and Dunlap to start being able to make some plays. But us, it's the exact opposite. We have the best defense in the league when we're all healthy. I know the injuries and Bud Dupree and Devin Bush being out might change that, but when we're all healthy, that's one of the best defenses in the league, absolutely hands down. No, I won't change my mind on that. But when our offense sees that, it's like, okay, it's the exact opposite of Seattle because our offense can't do anything right now, much like Seattle's defense couldn't do anything at the beginning of the year. Not that great of a running game, probably non-existent at this point. We need Connor to get back, and the play calling, I think, needs to help too. Randy Fichtner, the offensive coordinator, I think a lot of people have been criticizing him, and for good reason. Some of the play calling is super questionable, but it puts us into really bad situations, and then we have to keep playing catch up. And against a team like the Bills, who has a quarterback like Josh Allen and a receiver like Stephon Diggs, who can torch you for 130 yards and a touchdown, whatever he had against the Steelers, that's just not a winning recipe. That's just not a winning recipe, and you can't ask Ben to play perfect either because he's past his prime, obviously. And oh my gosh, can we please catch the ball? Oh, unbelievable. Tomlin highlighted that in his press conference last week. If you can't catch the ball, you'll be replaced by someone who can. And that just hurts. It really hurts. 11-2 should be something to be proud of. But the last 2 weeks, I'm just so disappointed in the Steelers. Just so disappointed in them. Cannot stress it enough.
I have to clarify for our radio audience the smile Aaron has right now. It's bringing me joy, that's for sure. Look, the Pittsburgh Steelers, according to Mike Tomlin too. Remember, like you were saying, Asher, routine players have to make routine plays routinely. And there might have been one too many routines in there, but regardless, you get the idea. You have to catch the football, and they've been unable to do so. Another thing that your offense has been incapable of is running the football. 47 yards as a team. Your leading rusher had 18. That is 18 more yards than the three of us. That's not that far away, and that's on 10 carries. So you're going to have to find some sort of a rush game. All year, Big Ben's been able to get rid of the ball extremely quickly. Now it's just been not as effective as of late, and the lack of a threat in the rush attack really doesn't help that scenario.
It makes us predictable. It makes us just too predictable because people are able to just see, okay, they can't run the ball at all, and when they throw, they're probably either going to drop it or we can just win our matchups. In the secondary. That's what it's been. Deontay Johnson probably has one of the highest ceilings in the league, I think. Like, he's just so explosive, and he can make any play, but his hands, and Eric Ebron, too, are just, it's just so frustrating to watch. His Big Ben has been playing about as good as you could ask a 39 or 40-year-old, I don't know how old he is, Big Ben, to play. Like, he's been dropping dimes this season, like, whole year, and a healthy Ben is what the Steelers need, but they also need a whole lot of other things. You can't ask your defense and Big Ben to play perfect because it's not going to happen, and then you're going to end up losing to the Washington football team, the Buffalo Bills, and probably the Browns at this point when you play them in the playoffs, or if you get whoever you play in the playoffs. I think they're scheduled to play the Dolphins. Like, if the season ended today, they would lose to the Dolphins today. And I hate to say that as the Steelers fan I am, but they would lose to the Dolphins. I just don't have any faith in their running game and their play calling right now. I really don't.
Aaron, would you like to join the conversation?
I would be honored, Noah.
Honored,
so,
if you will.
Ben Roethlisberger's 38, by the way.
38. Yeah, he's getting up there.
He is. He definitely is. And, like, throwing for 187 is not Big Ben-like. It's not something that you would normally see.
I agree with you.
And just a combined 47 yards from three different backs, dude, it's just sad. Like, I feel bad for you. I mean, I don't, but I do. I don't, but I do. That's the thing. It's like
they have a better record than us, Aaron. Slow down.
Okay, well, here's the thing: is like Asher, you were never. I appreciate this about you. You were never super cocky about the Steelers being, undefeated up until they weren't. But I'm gonna be the annoying guy in this situation. I'm gonna be the guy that rubs in your face.
Oh, everyone. I mean, I'm just not a cocky person to begin with. But
and I know you're not, and I appreciate that about you.
Absolutely.
I do.
So be annoying. I can.
Yeah.
We love
Stephon Diggs is. God, he's amazing.
He's incredible.
I drafted him in fantasy. I had this.
Good.
I had
Yeah, that's good.
In the Steelers defensive fantasy, I was like, okay, I need one of these to do good, and it turns out one of them did really good, and the other did not do very good.
Honestly, and Josh Allen is just a better quarterback in this game. Honestly, like right now, right, and well, I think just in general, I think right now, like in
he's
this
having
point
a better year than Ben Roethlisberger.
Exactly.
He's having a better year than probably at least 27 other quarterbacks in this league. I'd put him top 5 right now.
I'd put him top 3, honestly.
Whoa.
Yeah, there's an argument there.
I put Mahomes, Josh Allen, Russ in my top 3, I think.
No,
I think
Rodgers?
Rodgers would be number 4.
39 touchdowns, 4
Okay,
picks.
that's interesting.
39 touchdowns, 4 picks.
Okay,
I know this isn't the debate.
Okay. I'll put him at number 3. I'll put Russ at 4, with Aaron Rodgers at number 3. Does that make you feel better, Noah?
No, I'm saying Josh Allen at 2 ahead of both. Josh Allen's not even in the MVP conversation.
Dude, I think he could be though.
But
honestly,
he couldn't do it until he got his fancy new weapon in Stephon Diggs. He has an elite defense.
Still?
He has an extremely talented roster surrounding him. I agree he's playing extremely good, but he's still, at best, 4th in the NFL, if not 5th.
Okay, I mean, that's a conversation we can have. We can go into,
and that's
we
can
delve deep into after the season's over. But another reason I think is like just a complete loss of momentum too. Like Steelers they just kept on rolling down the hill, and their snowball kept on getting bigger and bigger, and it was just, so much confidence, and then losing to the Washington football team out of everybody that could have lost to.
That just totally blew the snowball apart. I totally agree with you.
Actually, hold on. I would disagree with that metaphor. I would say that was the first rock in the hill that they hit, and then the Bills was the final rock at the end of the hill.
That's fair. I can get behind that. They're just so deflated right now.
They really are,
and it's just so sad to see because with the receiver like Chase Claypool and Juju, like that receiving core is so talented. Like I was talking about, like Deontay Johnson too, and James Washington able to get to the end zone, but you need so much more than just guys. You need a lot more than talent in this league, and I feel like everyone should know that. Like you need like it's a whole. There's so many aspects to it, and the Steelers are just missing so many key functions right now, and they just can't do anything. And that relates to struggles on the defense too, because with all the injuries that have been piling up, they're a not well-oiled machine right now. Like they're falling apart at 11-2. It's really weird to say that to describe an 11-2 team, but it kind of feels like and looks like they're falling apart. Yeah,
if they had played like this throughout the season, then they wouldn't be a playoff picture team, I don't think. Like, even with their weapons, but, they've run undefeated up until week 11. But also, Juju's TikTok account, I think, is a reason that they're not doing well because he danced on both logos before the game, and they just kept losing. So I think if he does another one before they play the next game, I think they're going to lose that one too.
It's possible.
Also, I think the Browns could beat the Steelers. I think it's very possible.
I think their next game it's going to be close. I think Cleveland if they get everyone right on that day, I think it's close.
Baker Mayfield played his heart out against the Ravens, and I think he can definitely do the same thing against the Steelers.
Yeah, Baker had a really good game.
He had an incredible game. Yeah.
No question about it. I picked Cleveland to beat Pittsburgh at the end of the year because I thought Cleveland would have more to play for. But we'll see. We'll see when it comes down to it what happens in this ball game. You also have Indy coming up, so definitely Pittsburgh needs to get it together. But let's talk about what we think is going to happen come playoff time. Last week we went out and we gave our rankings as to how we think the seeds line up in either conference in the NFL. Now, we're going to predict how they advance and who makes it all the way to the promised land, to Tampa Bay, to the Super Bowl. Any adjustments that we want to make after last week's seeding predictions are allowed because the playoffs haven't started yet. And once we get the bracket, of course, that's going to be our final predictions. But I went ahead and I put Washington ahead of the Giants in the East for right now. I hope Washington's going to lose this week, but I still have them winning that division in the end of it because I do think they are the best team as of right now. Any other adjustments you guys made to your bracket?
Well, I mean, I went and redid the whole thing and just really thought about it a little more. But once we start talking about which seed is which, that's when you'll figure out what my adjustments are. We can just get into it then. If that's
Okay.
I don't want to spoil anything.
So the 1 seeds, the teams getting the bye, who do we have getting the bye? Kansas City in the AFC for me. And I'm keeping New Orleans for now in the NFC.
Okay. I'm keeping Kansas City's in my AFC as well, but I'm giving Green Bay the bye this in the NFC.
I can see
That's what
that.
I have too. So I'll be honest with you before we get going. I thought you meant like for our simulation, like if the playoffs ended today. So I kind of based mine off of that, like what the ESPN thing said. But looking at it and what you meant, like what you actually meant, I would probably agree with most of the NFL. So I have Chiefs and Packers getting the bye, and I would agree with that right now.
Okay. Yeah, no, right now it is a toss-up between the Packers and New Orleans. New Orleans plays Kansas City this week. Green Bay has a game against Carolina, and what's the other team they're going to play? Tennessee, and I think they lose to Tennessee. I think King Henry pounds it down their throat. But so now that we know the 1 seeds, let's talk about that 4-5 matchup. Let's go. I have it being Washington versus the Rams in the NFC. So I have. Actually, let's start AFC. Tennessee versus Cleveland in the AFC. I have in this game. I think Cleveland comes out victorious. I think Cleveland beats Tennessee because of what we saw a couple weeks ago, and it's all about matchups, and that's what's going to lead potentially Cleveland because I have them in the next round playing Kansas City. That's what might make that game interesting, and I'd like to talk to you guys about that matchup in just a little bit. But what is your guys' 4-5 matchup in the AFC?
I also have Cleveland, Tennessee as my 4-5, and I also have Cleveland winning. I think they're going to have enough momentum, and Baker Mayfield's on-field swagger is incredible, and I think that's going to be enough to do it.
Yeah, that can only go so far because he can definitely have a pretty low floor for some games like we've seen, but their run defense just totally shut Derrick Henry down the first time, and I think they can do that again. Like the matchups you're talking about, I think they match up against Tennessee just perfectly, and we saw that with that giant halftime lead that they got against Tennessee the first time. And then I listened to this from Howard the day after. They've never had a lead like that ever, and so that's kind of part of the reason why they gave up. They were outscored 28-3 because they don't know how to play with the lead. They've never had the lead like that before, and I kind of agree with it. They're playing with the lead, or let alone a lead that big, is totally different than playing behind. And I definitely get behind that. But either way, I think Cleveland beats Tennessee still.
All right, we're all on the same page. The 3-6 matchup in the AFC, Buffalo-Baltimore is what I got. And I have Buffalo advancing. I think Buffalo is a better team right now, and I think Buffalo has a lot of momentum, so I have Buffalo advancing. What's your matchup, Aaron?
I got Pittsburgh-Baltimore in my 3-6 seed, just because the way Pittsburgh's playing right now, I don't think they're going to be any better than the 3 seed. That's just what I think is going to happen. And I do have Pittsburgh winning against Baltimore.
That's a good matchup.
It would be a great game. That's always that's one of the rivalries, right? That's one of your guys' rivalries.
That's our main drive. The whole Ray Lewis era.
You're right.
It's always a really good game.
That is true.
It's
the best
NFL rivalry, in my opinion.
I would say it's between the Packers and the Bears is also an iconic one too.
It's just been lame lately.
Well, lately, of course, but right now a Baltimore-Pittsburgh game would be incredible. Mm-hmm. But I have Pittsburgh beating Baltimore just because I think they can pull it out.
Okay. Asher.
So like I said, I based mine on what it actually is right now. I have the Bills beating the Colts because they just beat the Steelers, and the Bills are probably one of the top contenders right now, honestly. They've just been playing really well. Like Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen are just top of their game right now. So I got Bills 3 beating the Colts. Colts are just still a little too inconsistent for me. I really like the Bills right now. I just want to make that clear. Even though they beat my Steelers, I really like the Bills.
Hey, they beat my Seahawks too, and I like them too, Asher. So we can high five and bake something together later to celebrate. The 2-7
You
matchup.
better have a let Russ cook apron. That's the only way I'm going.
Hey, you got yourself a deal. The 2 seed versus 7 seed matchup in the AFC. I got Pittsburgh. I got Indy in this matchup. This is going to be a rematch of the game that happens in a couple of weeks. 2 weeks, I believe. Pittsburgh plays Indy, and I think Pittsburgh wins the second one, I don't know if they win the first one. But either way, I do have Pittsburgh winning in the playoffs. And I have Pittsburgh advancing. I think they get it done against Indianapolis. Mike Tomlin has done an incredible job every year in his career, never having a losing record as a head coach. And I just, even though Pittsburgh has struggled as of late, the defense is still phenomenal. The offense is going to find a way, in my opinion, and Pittsburgh gets it done. Aaron, what's your 2-7?
I got Buffalo at 2 and Indy at 7 as well. And just the way Buffalo's been playing lately, I don't think they're going to be stopped up until the divisional round, or even after. But yeah, I got Buffalo just because of Josh Allen.
Asher.
I got Steelers at Dolphins. The fan in me agrees with you. I really want them to get it on track. The last 2 weeks, like, everyone hits their own bump in the road. Like we saw with Tennessee just getting throttled by Cleveland, New York, or the Chiefs. Bad matchups with the Raiders. The Raiders played them close twice. They were able to beat them once. Everyone's got bad matchups, but I think the Steelers will be able to get it. I think Pittsburgh can win a close game. It's not going to be pretty because they haven't been playing any pretty football the last month or so, but I think they can get it done.
Yeah, so we all have Pittsburgh advancing. There is somebody at my door right now, so I'll let you guys talk about the next round while I get my dog real quick.
All right.
Who do you guys have Kansas City playing?
So I got Kansas City playing Cleveland, Asher. I don't know about you.
That's what I have too, because they'd be the lowest remaining seed.
Yep.
And Kansas City obviously beats them.
Oh, obviously, but I honestly think it would be a close game. I think that Cleveland, just based off this how they've been. What's their record? They're 9-4 now, I believe. Yeah, because they just lost last night, and that would have been their 10th win. Yeah. So they're 9-4, and I honestly think they can keep it close. But Kansas City, I have them finishing 15-1. I don't think,
Yeah, I don't see how Chiefs lose this.
I don't either. And
everyone was freaking out when Mahomes threw his second interception. They're like, "Oh my gosh, what's going on here?" And I was like, I'm not even going to worry about it. Mahomes is going to come back because that's the same stadium that he was down 10 in last year's Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly.
Look what happened there. He was just fine. Travis Kelce leads the league in yards, and that's never happened to a tight end.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just unbelievable to me how talented he is.
Crazy.
Even that entire offense. Tyreek Hill too. Le'Veon Bell adding that. I really want to see Le'Veon Bell in the playoffs. I really do. Him and Edwards-Helaire is such a dynamic backfield. I think they have so many options with them because they run so differently. I think Bell's more of the patient kind of guy, and Edwards-Helaire's a lot smaller and a lot shiftier, but he can put his head down and just run right through you. So totally. I don't see how anyone beats Kansas City right now.
I totally agree. I just think that they're just unstoppable. They're on the high from winning the Super Bowl last year, and Mahomes is having, he's super stoked about his new $500 million contract. I looked up the other day that his signing bonus was like $68 million. Fun fact.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's just incredible to me.
Based on, from what we're seeing though, it makes sense why he signed for that much.
It's definitely.
It's hard to fathom getting that much money as a college student.
God, I know.
Dude, I have a bowl of cereal still like that. There's
I know,
no cereal in it, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I totally do.
It's a struggle for real. But the other matchup, it would be the 2-3. I have Buffalo beating the Steelers based on what I see.
Yeah, Buffalo beating the Steelers. Yeah, dude. Okay, so I had the same thing, Buffalo at Pittsburgh, but I want so bad for the Steelers to win because. Because I have faith in Steelers, and I want to see a Pittsburgh Kansas City AFC Championship so bad.
I
want to see something like that so bad.
Not just because I want the Steelers to
exactly
go, because everyone's been talking about it. Okay, the Steelers are clearly an inferior team because of the schedule, them not playing anyone worthy, and then losing to Washington definitely added to that. And it's if how do I want to say it? If the Steelers want to go out, they need to get to the chipper against Kansas City because Kansas City at this point has clinched a spot to that game as far as I'm concerned.
I think so too.
It's up to everyone else
agree.
who gets to play the Chiefs in the AFC Championship.
Yeah.
And if the Steelers want to prove anything, they have to go there and they got to beat Kansas City if they want.
Right. No, I totally agree.
I don't think they can get there, but I think that's what they have to do.
Right. No, what we had, so he and I both have Cleveland, Kansas City for the divisional round with Kansas City winning, and then Pittsburgh, Buffalo for the 3-2.
Thank you. Shout out to my neighbor. Apparently, my car light was on, and they didn't want my battery to die. So.
Oh, nice. That's clutch.
They would not stop banging on my door at my Chihuahua. Was going.
That's clutch. That's clutch.
So I ran out there. My feet are still a little bit wet because of the rainy slush outside in Pullman, but we're ready to rock here. All right. So my 1-5 matchup, as it turns out, in the AFC, I got Kansas City, Cleveland. I think it's going to be a reasonable game. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a real game, but I do have Kansas City coming out victorious. And then on the other side of the bracket, Buffalo, Pittsburgh. I like Buffalo. I think Buffalo beats Pittsburgh right now. I agree. I would love to see Pittsburgh, Kansas City. I would also love to see Buffalo, Kansas City. And I think right now Buffalo, Kansas City, those are the two best teams in the AFC. So I really look forward to that matchup. And then, so we're on the conference championship game now. Kansas City, Buffalo. I like Kansas City. Let's go to you, Asher.
I don't. You already know. Kansas City.
Yeah, we all taking Kansas City.
Against that right now.
So we're all taking Kansas City, but I haven't beating Pittsburgh. But yeah.
Okay. Now the NFC side of things get controversial. Things get topsy-turvy. There are a lot of really good teams in the NFC, and I feel like it's less top-heavy. I feel like it's more even keel. Any team can really beat anyone. The New York Giants are my 4 seed, the Washington football team is my 4 seed, and the Los Angeles Rams are my 5. I have the Rams beating Washington in a low-scoring affair, but the Rams get it done 27-19. I think it's a fun game if you like defense and physicality and watching the Rams get beat up. So I'm going to enjoy it, but they're still going to win. Aaron, let's go to you. What is your 4-5 matchup in the NFC?
So my 4 seed is also Washington. My 5th seed is Tampa Bay. And I have Tampa Bay beating Washington in the wild card. Just because I think Tom Brady is a playoff quarterback and he can win games in the playoffs just because of how many Super Bowls he's been to. So I think that he can lead them to especially with the receiver core he has, I think it's going to be a Tampa Bay win.
Asher.
I have Seattle beating Washington. I think Seattle is starting to pick things up, and I think Washington, that would be a really good game.
That would be a good game.
Our game of the year. Washington-Seattle seems like a really good matchup, and we'll get a preview of that matchup next week when you guys play them. But I think that's one of the best games looking forward, because Washington, no one thought Washington was going to do anything this year. Like NFC East, that whole stigma with that division, but holy cow, they've looked really good. And so that's 2 teams right now that are getting a lot of momentum. They're starting to figure things out. They're starting to get their identities. Both teams are, and I think that'd be a really good game. But I think DK Metcalf and Russ is just too much of a combo for them to handle, and I think Seattle is able to there.
I completely agree. If I had that matchup, I'd have Seattle winning as well. But instead, my 3-6 matchup is Seattle-Tampa Bay. Unfortunately, before the year, a lot of us Seahawks fans were speculating, maybe we'll play Tampa Bay in the NFC Championship game. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to play them in the first round of the playoffs, which is going to suck. And I think Tampa Bay is a 1 playoff win kind of team, but not against Seattle. I have Seattle advancing past Tampa Bay, 31-28, shootout style, shootout fashion. Wilson gets better, the better side of Tom Brady in this playoff matchup, and I think Seattle advances. What is your 3-6, Aaron?
My 3-6 is Seattle, Arizona, and I have Seattle beating Arizona just because we've done it once and we can do it again. And I think Russ is going to cook with DK, like Asher was saying. It's a power combo. So, yeah, Seattle.
Asher.
I have Rams over Tampa Bay. I think, like you said, I think the Rams are doing really good right now, and they've had some really good quality wins. I like where they're going. Sean McVay's a really good head coach, except in the Super Bowl at Super Bowl 50. I hated that game. Fun fact: that was the Patriots' largest margin of victory in a Super Bowl. That 10-3 win over the Rams. I don't know how that's possible, but I think Sean McVay and company have a really good crew going forward. Aaron Donald is always unstoppable. As usual, Jared Goff's been playing really good, and I think they're able to beat Tampa Bay.
And then for my 2-7 matchup, I got Green Bay, Arizona. And this is a fun one. Reminds you of a couple years back, the divisional round of the playoffs in 2015. Game goes to overtime. Cardinals get it done, advance to play Carolina and get their butts kicked. But in this game, I have a different outcome. I say Green Bay is victorious. I say Green Bay wins 34-31, advancing to the divisional round of the playoffs. Aaron, what is your 2-7 matchup in the NFC?
My 2-7 matchup is New Orleans and Los Angeles. And I have New Orleans coming on top just because they're playing off the charts, and I don't think they can be stopped by the Rams. Like you said, the Rams are good. They're doing very well, but I think they're the second worst team in the NFC West, and so that's why I have them at the 7th seed.
Really?
They're best as well.
Okay, yeah, that sounds better. Third best in the NFC West. But I just don't think they can pull it out against the New Orleans Saints.
Ah, man. See, they did last time, and New Orleans just lost to the Eagles. So
they did lose to the Eagles.
They did, but I'm still sticking with the New Orleans Saints.
This is fair. Asher, what do you got?
I have the Saints over the Cardinals in that matchup. I think that'd be a really good matchup to watch if Drew Brees can come back. I don't know the timetable on Brees, but even if he's not back, Taysom Hill and Michael Thomas has been really fun to watch the last couple of weeks. And Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins is also a really good combo. But I think New Orleans is a more complete team, and I think they would beat Arizona if they played today.
Man, I would love to play New Orleans in the divisional round instead of Green Bay, but I feel like we end up playing Green Bay in the divisional round of the playoffs. And that's the next matchup that I want to talk about. Seattle, Green Bay. That is it turns out to be my 2-3 matchup. It would be in Green Bay, not too many fans in Lambeau. Last year, this game was down to the wire. We didn't have Chris Carson. We didn't have Rashad Penny. We didn't have this level of DK Metcalf. And we didn't have Jamal Adams or Carlos Dunlap. So I think this game goes a little bit differently. 27-21, Seattle. Actually, no, I'm going to inflate that. 37-31, Seattle beats Green Bay in a shootout fashion on the road. Upset victory. So start with the bottom of your bracket, if you would, please. Your 3-2s. Aaron.
So my 3-2 is Seattle and New Orleans. And, my favorite Seattle game when we played New Orleans was when Beastquake happened, right? That was one of the greatest things ever, and it was in New Orleans as well. And so I'm just hoping for a repeat energy of that performance. And that was a long time ago. It was before our jerseys were switched, and it was when Marshawn was young. But I still think we can pull it out against the Saints in New Orleans. It'll be a close one. It'll maybe be a 28-24 kind of score. But I think we can score. I don't either, but I think that's what's going to happen because, I'm used to heart attack scores from the Seahawks this year. So
Seahawks always played weird games. Don't be surprised at that.
Yeah.
No, I could see it. If we play New Orleans in the division, I say 28-27 kind of score. 1-point game is how that game would end, in my opinion. Asher, let's go to you, though.
I have the Packers over the Seahawks. I think the Packers are able to beat Seattle fairly. I think it'll be a shootout. Either way, if Green Bay and Seattle play, it's going to be an awesome game for offense, and then someone's going to get a stop late fourth quarter on defense to win it, and I think it's going to be 7 points or less victory for either team. It'll be close, but I think Green Bay, and the way Aaron Rodgers is playing right now, that MVP level conversation we were talking about, I think they beat Seattle.
See, Asher, I appreciate your level of objectivity on the Seahawks, something that myself and Aaron might not be able to properly represent.
I just try to be objective all around, man. That's what I bring to the table.
I love it. The top of my NFC bracket has New Orleans versus the Rams in a rematch of the NFC Championship game 2 years ago. And I have the Rams winning again, 28-27 on the road. New Orleans has the postseason woes. That's why I would love to play New Orleans in the second round if I'm Seattle, because they struggle come the postseason. They have for years.
I have that exact same result. I also have the Rams beating New Orleans. I think they're playing really good right now, and I want to give credit to New Orleans fairly because I do like Drew Brees and Michael Thomas as an offensive duo, but losing to Philadelphia will definitely take away from that. And given their woes, like you mentioned, in the way LA is playing and their ability to do good. I know that probably shouldn't have happened, that non-call PI a couple of years ago. I disagree with that entirely, but I think the Rams beat New Orleans.
Yeah, and we've seen New Orleans already in a matchup where, they've had a devastatingly horrible call go against them, and then they've played them in the following playoffs, and then they lost to them again. The Minnesota Miracle to last year's playoffs, where they lost in overtime to Kyle Rudolph walk-off. So I have New Orleans losing in the divisional round, once again failing to make it to the Super Bowl, let alone the conference championship game, meaning my NFC championship game, Rams Seahawks, for the third time this year.
First off, my 5-1 for the divisional round, just real quick, Tampa Bay, Green Bay, and I have Green Bay winning.
Yeah. Oh, so you have Green Bay getting them back for the embarrassment earlier on in the season.
Here's the thing. I want a rematch of the 2014 NFC Championship game. Seattle, Green Bay. And Seattle pulls it off again. I'm crazy. Call me crazy. I'm a little biased. But the Seahawks beat Green Bay in the NFC Championship. That's just, you're hearing it here right now first. That's what's happening.
All right.
I got us being the Rams. Asher, what do you got?
I have NFC Championship. I got Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams being better than Jared Goff and his number one receiver. I got Packers over the Rams.
I must confess, I'm getting tired of these games, these conference championships where it's a division rival versus the Packers. Last year we had to go through that pain. Let's just remember, the Niners have been to the Super Bowl since we last went. The Rams have been to the Super Bowl since we last went. The Cardinals have been to the conference championship since we last went. But the last team to win the Super Bowl in the NFC West, Seattle. All right, so on my side of things, I have Seattle versus the Rams. I think it's one of the most incredible ball games of the year. I think it is just like what the second game is going to be between Seattle and the Rams, a very close ball game down to the very end. I think it is defensive, but I still think both teams put up a lot of points because I think both teams are very opportunistic. And I say Seattle wins by a whopping 1 point, 34-33, advancing to play Kansas City in the Super Bowl.
You mean advancing to lose to Kansas City in the Super Bowl?
Hey, we're not predicting the Super Bowl yet. So
We're not? Oh, I have the Super Bowl predicted.
No, we're just not. We're not giving those yet. No, you should have it, but we're not.
Okay,
giving those yet.
all right. I was just making sure.
The teaser.
Fair enough.
All right, so my Super Bowl, Kansas City, Seattle. Aaron, Kansas City, Seattle. Asher,
Kansas City, Green Bay.
And then that, well, because that's also what the MVP conversation really is down to this season as well. Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes. So we'll see. Whoever gets the MVP, whoever wins that game, if it's the opposite, is going to have a serious case as to why they should have the MVP trophy. Gentlemen, we're approaching the end of the show for today. I want to give you guys an opportunity to shout out where other people can find you on social media. Asher, let's go to you first.
At Asherline on most things, and TikTok. I think Snapchat's different, but I don't use that a whole lot. That's kind of weird. Also, real quick, I got Wizards making the playoffs this year.
Oh. I agree. Well, hopefully we'll be able to touch on that next year. Or next week.
Next week. Sure. Just wanted to make sure it's known though. I like it.
I like it. Volcanic Ashman is his Snapchat, by the way. Aaron, let's go to you for your social medias.
I got at Aaron Monson on Instagram, at Aaron__Monson on Twitter, and at Aaron Monson on TikTok. If you want to follow me, and if you want my Snapchat, just shoot me a DM, and I'll see if I won't give it to you or not.
Hit my line, if you will.
That's adorable, Aaron. You can find me on Instagram and on YouTube at DJSQUABO. Thank you all for watching today's episode of Unorthodox Sports. We're coming at you live on YouTube every Tuesday on KUGR. As always, it is your home for Cougar football and Cougar basketball and Cougar sports in general, as well as Seahawks football on YouTube and on KUGR Unorthodox Sports.
Happy all.